Roundtable Colloquium on critical issues related to the sixth schedule, to be chaired by the esteemed Mr. Sonam Wangchuk, the chief guest of the national seminar today, Ramon Magsaysay, Awardee, a climate activist, a prominent leader and spokesman of the sixth schedule movement of Ladakh people. Sir, may I please request you to take the chair? May we have a huge round of applause as Sir takes the chair for the next session, Technical 3, a roundtable colloquium. Before we start and introduce our speakers, I want to read out a note dedicating to the Director of Center for Karbis Studies. As we proceed with today's pivotal discussion, in the Technical 3 session, we acknowledge the invaluable contributions of Dr. Dharam Singh Teron to the preservation and advancements of Karbi culture. Despite his absence due to work commitment in London, we dedicate this moment to his remarkable contributions and sacrifices for the Karbi people, notably in founding the Center for Karbi Studies, CKS, a co-host of this national seminar. Dr. Dharam Singh Teron's dedication spans over 3 decades, characterized by meticulous documentation of Karbi oral traditions, encompassing songs, narratives, and rituals. His extensive body of work serves as a cornerstone of understanding and appreciating the richness of Karbi cultural expression. As a champion of Karbi identity, Dr. Teron has actively participated in the Karbi identity movement, holding leadership positions within the Autonomous State Demand Committee, ASDC, and the Karbi Youth Festival, KYF. He has also served in elected positions in the Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council and Assam Legislative Assembly. So, in recognition of the pressing need of focused research and preservation efforts, Dr. Dharam Singh Teron established the Center for Karbi Studies in 2015. Under his guidance, CKS has emerged as a beacon of indigenous Karbi research, documenting and interpreting the Karbi ethos, worldview, and history of the cultural perspective. As its director, while spearheading a crucial initiative to preserve Karbi culture, he mentors many young Karbi scholars, writers, thinkers to develop a deep sense of community belonging through empathetic and collaborative learning. For CKS and for Dr. Dharam Singh Teron's remarkable contribution to promoting Karbi culture, scholarship, and community engagement, we celebrate the importance of indigenous voices and expressions today. As a special message, Dr. Dharam Singh Teron extends his warm wishes to Mr. Sonam Wangchuk and his team from Ladakh. He says, "May your tribe grows." So can we have a huge round of applause for Dr. Dharam Singh Teron's word to the crowd today. And on the behalf of Center for Karbi Studies, I would like to request Mr. Dhunisan Lathe and Madam Maggie to present a token of love to Sir Sonam Wangchuk and Sir Chering Dorje as a love, and that is a book published by the Center for Karbi Studies. So we would like to request is Dhunisan Lathe, the member of Center for Karbi Studies, to present the publication books by the Center for Karbi Studies to Sir Sonam Wangchuk and to Sir Chering Dorje by Madam Maggie. Maggie Kathar is the General Secretary of Center for Karbis Studies. May we have a huge round of applause. As we begin the session, the technical session 3, our roundtable colloquium, this session brings together prominent voices to discuss the legislative and executive challenges, the scope for autonomous power, and aspiration of hill tribes under the 6th Schedule framework. I would like to introduce 3 prominent speakers. Mr. Elwin Teron, who will be presenting on dealing with legislative and executive handicaps under the 6th Schedule. I would like to read a brief about him. Elwin Teron, a renowned political figure of Karbi Anglong district of Assam, he is a writer, poet, and an independent researcher. joined youth activism since 1985 and led the autonomy movement through the Autonomous State Demand Committee, ASDC, since 1986, where he pioneered as a spokesman. He was a member of Autonomous Council, MSC, and appointed an executive member for 2 consecutive terms from 1989. He currently serves as the chief advisor to the chief executive member of Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council and recently appointed as an advisor to 6 scheduled councils of the Northeast region. He will be the first presenter for the colloquium. Second, may I request Sir John Ingti Kathar, IAS retired Honorable President, APHLC, to please come and take his chair. He also a former Principal Secretary of Boroland Autonomous Council, now BTR, former Deputy Commissioner of Kamrup Guwahati. He is responsible in enlightening the people of Twin Hills District, Karbi Anglong and Dimasas District of Assam on the powers, rights and provision of the 6th schedule to the Constitution of India. And he will be presenting the paper on the fundamental autonomous power in 6th schedule as it exists today. Last but not least, we have Mr. Holiram Terang. Sir, may I request you to please take your chair. Mr. Holiram Terang is a prominent political figure from Assam, known for his leadership in the Hill District of Karbi Anglong and Dimasas, a former member of the Autonomous State Demand Committee, ASDC. He served as its president and was an influential, and still is, influential voice advocating for the creation of an autonomous state for the region. His political career includes 3 terms of an MLA from Baithalangso constituency between 1985 to 2000. And he also held the role of minister in the government of Assam, managing the agriculture and irrigation portfolios. And he will be presenting a paper on the aspirations of the Karbis, Dimasas, and other hill tribes of Assam and the Constitution 125th Amendment Bill 2019. Thank you so much. Now I hand over the speaker to the chairman today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Jule and Kardom. Once again, I feel so grateful, particularly for us who have come here as learners for this seminar organized by the Autonomous Council, the University and Center for Karbis Studies for bringing so many experiences in this one hall that we will carry back with us and make good use of, and I think each of us will do so and make things even better. I have with me 3 luminaries. You have heard their introduction already, thereby making my work easier. So we'll, without wasting time, because we're running late, go straight into the presentations. We have Dr. Teron, who will be addressing online. Yes. So he happens to be in London for some studies, and we'll have him online to enlighten us about dealing with legislative and executive handicaps under the 6th schedule. So can we have Dr. Elwin Teron?
Hello.
Yes. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Pardon.
Pardon. Honorable Chair, Mr. Wangchuk,
Volume.
my co-panelist, Jai Kathar, and Mr. Holiram Terang, eminent academician, professors, scholars, ladies and gentlemen. I want to express my sincere thanks to the organizers for enabling me to participate from here. Otherwise, I would have missed this opportunity. And this is, I'm honored to be among the top scholars of the country.
Can you increase the volume?
So, yeah. Can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yeah, very low volume.
I think it's a problem here.
Okay, am I audible now? Is it clear? Hello?
We are working on the volume, sir.
Meanwhile, can you also keep talking so that we know?
Yes, yes. So
Oh, yeah,
please,
yeah.
continue
So,
with a little bit of your own volume.
all right. I have lowered my volume already. Actually, we are today basically taking a review of the working of the sixth schedule in the last 75 years of its existence. We must therefore critically examine dispassionately what was the strength of the sixth schedule, what was the difficulties that we had faced in past 75 years, and of course, what are the way forward. Now, we have two contexts here. The first context, of course, is 26th November 1949, when the Constitution of India was presented to the people of India, in which the sixth schedule was also a part of it. And the second context, of course, is 2024 as we examine ourselves today. That is the second context. Now, the concern at the time of the first context was the preservation and protection of the Hill tribal people of Assam, particularly with regards to their land, their custom, traditions. And actually, it was a continued protection which happened during under the Government of India Act 1919 and the Government of India Act 1935. Of course, with a difference. The difference was that during the British period, it was the governor which acted alone, in fact, for the welfare of the Hill tribal people. But here, in the sixth schedule, it would be a self-governance. It will be autonomy, self-governance. Then the second thing that has come is that the legislative powers would be given to the council so that they are able to legislate laws within the domain that they have been allowed in the Constitution, particularly under paragraph 3. There are 10 subjects there, or the 10 subjects, yes. And this particular sixth schedule was again supported by provision 12, paragraph 12 of the sixth schedule, in which laws passed by the state and the central government on those subjects which are within the domain of the council will not apply. And therefore, the laws enacted by the council on those subjects become supreme within the territorial extent of the district council. Now, the other help that we get from the Constitution is, of course, Article 19, Sapara 1 and D, 1D of Article 19, which created a restriction for even Indian citizens for the entry and holding of other properties and other issues with a view to protect the scheduled tribe communities. So this is a very rare provision in the Constitution which tries to protect as part of the people, the culture and the traditions of the tribal people. Now, again, it is again after the 73rd and 74th Amendment also, another protection was given under Article 243M and Article 243ZC. These are again another protection given to the field people, particularly under the sixth schedule. So sixth schedule, and not alone, but it has several other constitutional provisions that protects in helping protect the tribal people in Assam. Now, there are other issues now in the second context, that is the context of 2024. Here, the issue is again not only preservation of culture and tradition, but issue is of employment, of upliftment of their standard of living, of development of infrastructure, and other developmental issues. Now, those developmental issues, it was assumed at the beginning that the state government would take care of all this in the tribal areas, and the job of the district council at that time would remain within the framework that is given under paragraph 3 of the schedule. That is the 10 subjects which they may legislate. The other developmental issues were left with the state government. Now, immediately after 4 or 5 years, we found that tribal leaders of Assam started complaining of the lack of development in the tribal areas and the inability of the district council to take up development projects on its own because of the paucity of fund. And therefore, protests started, which led to the reorganization of Assam in 1969. So many of the six scheduled areas have already become states by themselves and are looking after themselves. Now, what remained within Assam of the original six scheduled areas are today the Karbi Anglong and the Dimasas district councils. Now, these two councils had remained, but they also are concerned about the developmental aspects. And because of that, the government have decided to utilize the provision of paragraph 6, subparagraph 2, that is entrustment of development authority of the state to the council. Now, before doing that, the state government and the union government, they have decided to do two things. One, of course, is changing the responsibility of making financial rules. Earlier in the original sixth schedule, the wording were that the district council may, with the approval of the government, make rules for the finances, for looking after the finances of the district. But after 1969, they changed it that it is now the responsibility of the governor, which means the state government, to make rules for the finances, financial rules for the district council. So they changed this one. The other things which was changed, of course, was the power of the governor further confirming that whatever was discussed during the Constituent Assembly about the role of the state government in legislation of the district council. This was further strengthened because in Khas Hills, for example, under the Khas Hills District Council, paragraph 12A, if you see that whenever the laws prepared by the state government and the district council comes together. Of course, the law prepared by the state government would prevail. So these are the changes that took place, further strengthening the role of the state council of ministers in the lawmaking process of the district council. Now, I want to dwell on this issue particularly, because now the question is not about what kind of power is given to a particular district council. There has been an asymmetric application of the provisions of the sixth schedule to different councils. For example, in Mizoram, it's different. In Tripura, it's different. In Bodoland, again, it's different. And so it's different in all the district councils. So separate provisions were made in the district council, in the constitution also, to apply to different district councils. So this is one of the developments that we have had during the past 75 years. Now, if I go further than that, it would be interesting to say that all those district councils where paragraph 6, subparagraph 2 has been utilized are in the state where the non-tribals are the majority. For example, in Assam and then in Tripura. Now, all the district councils which have got executive power of the state transferred to them under this paragraph have come as a result of agitation in various time during the past 75 years. It was due to the agitation in Tripura that Tripura Autonomous District Council was created. Bodoland was created in that manner. And of course, even for Karbis and Dimasas also, it was due to agitation in the 60s by the APHLC and other forces that created a situation whereby even if these two district councils would continue to remain within the state of Assam, they would be given extra power under the state, which is being held by the state government, so that they may also autonomously look after their development.
So we have 3 minutes more to wind up, if you can.
Yeah.
3 minutes.
So I just want to end just 2 minutes more. Therefore, we are now looking at the issues. How much power is given to whom? That is not a real issue. Now, the real issue is that whatever power, whatever responsibility has been given to you, are you able to implement them? For example, I'm talking about the attributes of autonomy. And autonomy, when we talk about autonomy, it is the ability to express one's view autonomously and to decide action autonomously. Are we able to do that? We are unable to do that because of the interference of the state government in the lawmaking process. Secondly, are we able to finance whatever decisions you have taken? That also is not possible because you see that is one of the handicaps. Now, district council like Karbis has been given 30 development departments so that they can autonomously develop their places. But with this responsibility also comes the burden of revenue liabilities. Now, because of this responsibility, enhancement in the recruitment process also have to take place. The administrative machineries have been enlarged suitably, and of course, the expenditure has increased. But the revenue level of the revenue collection field of the sixth schedule under paragraph 8 has remained constant, except with a new edition of amusement and entertainment by 101st Constitutional Amendment. And therefore, the fund has remained stagnant, responsibility has increased, and we are unable to manage our own revenues. For example, Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council has been facing 70% constant revenue deficit, revenue deficit of 70%. So we are unable to finance even 50% of our expenditure. And that is one of the issues. The other issue, of course, when development comes, there is confusion. The confusion is that although the council is able to pursue their own development programs according to the sixth schedule within the framework, original framework is given to them, but the transport departments continue to be financed by the state government. And therefore, now the issue of appointment come, the issue of financial rules come. The AG would always tell us that you must follow the purchasing rules of the state, you must follow the other financial rules set up by the state. Of course, that power was given to them in 1969. And so there is a mismatch. There is always a contradiction between the state and the council in that regard. And also, in the recruitment also, because the salary is being given by them for all the employees of the development departments, obviously the approval of the state finance department was required. And therefore, there is always a contradiction between these two authorities with regards to appointment. So, and the other thing is that whatever decision we have taken, are we able to enforce them, the law that we have, are we able to enforce them? For example, it is the responsibility of the district council to remove all the encroachers. Are we able to do that without the help of the council, without the help of the state government? It is not possible, because law and order, ministerial power, we do not enjoy. And therefore, those are the handicaps that we are facing. So what are the way forward? The way forward would be the removal of the role of the State Council of Ministers in the legislative process of the council in respect of the subjects allotted to the council. Because this process is not only undemocratic, but it is also an unpleasant oversight. The second, of course, would be the widening of the revenue source, including admittance in the GST Council, direct access to the Finance Commission under Article 280. We have all along been trying to rely on the provision of Article 275, but the sources under Article 275(1) has dried up. For example, in the past 10 years, not even a single paisa has come to Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council under Article 275. So that is an unreliable revenue source. Now, the other thing would be empowerment of the council, at least partially, to take control of the ministerial and police authorities. That will be required in order to exercise the autonomous power that is being contemplated to be given to the district council. Those are the way forward that I have seen. And all those things, that's the reason why we found it expedient that the people of Karbi Anglong should demand for Article 244A, because all those powers would be included in Article 244A. Upgradation would be necessary for those hill tribal people and hill tribal council under the sixth schedule, of course, that are within the non-tribal majority states like Assam and Tripura. For other councils, they have no problem. They are better organized because the state is being manned by tribals themselves. So they understand each other. They have development also. So that the per capita income of Meghalaya, for example, Mizoram particularly is very, very high. Sikkim is very, very high. But what about per capita income of the people of Karbi Anglong? It is among the lowest in the country. We continue to be the least developed districts of among the least developed districts of the thing. That is because we have been having problem with the functioning of the council vis-a-vis the state administration. And these things will have to be resolved in order that sixth schedule regime continues to be sustainable in the administration of the tribal areas. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir, for highlighting some of the gaps, some of the things that are amiss, which are not easy for all to notice, and sharing your solutions as way forward also. Now I call upon Sir Jones Ingti Kathar from the All Party Hill Leaders Conference to share your presentation.
We thank the organizer and the chairman of this session. Most of us know the reason for making the sixth schedule to the Constitution of India by the Constituent Assembly of India, which said from 1946 to 1950, it was to enable the previous independent kingdoms of the Nagas, Mizos, Khasis, Garos, Karbis, Dimasas, Kukis, and other petty kingdoms of hill peoples in the region now called the Northeast India to enjoy a semblance of independence, similar to the position they had before the signing of the tripartite peace treaty of Yandabu, signed on the 24th February 1826 among the British India, Myanmaris, and the Ahom king. After signing the Treaty of Yandabu, British India government administered the areas of the hill tribes kingdoms under the administrative systems of partially excluded and excluded. Under these systems, large amount of autonomy was given to the hill tribes kingdoms, especially to the kingdoms governed under the excluded areas system. Naga Hills, Lushai Hills, and a part of Khasi Jaintia Hills and North Kachar Hills. Mikir Hills, Karbi Anglong, Garo Hills, and a part of Khasi Jaintia Hills and a part of North Kachar Hills, now Dimasas, were governed under the system of partially excluded areas. I still remember the visit of His Majesty, the King of Karbi Kingdom, along with his ministers and the Karbi High Priest to our house in the 1950s. They came wearing their royal robes and golden necklaces. It was under such background the sixth schedule to the Constitution of India was made. The sixth schedule has been made as a mini constitution or a constitution within constitution as stated by Justice B.L. Hansaria and Chief Justice Muhammad Hidayatullah of the Supreme Court of India respectively. Constitution of a nation is a legal framework for building or constructing an independent nation. So, a mini constitution is a mini legal framework for constructing or building a mini nation. The tribal areas mentioned at paragraph 1 and 20 are meant to be mini nations, but these are not called nations because these are within the independent Indian nation. Some of us do not call it a mini constitution, but whenever any amendment to the sixth schedule is proposed to be made, it is treated as amendment to the constitution because it is part and parcel of the constitution of India. A nation must be administered, and a democratic nation must be administered by the power of the people. Demos, people, kratos, power, democracy. Before anything can be done in the mini constitution, in the mini nation, by the authority of the mini nation, a mini parliament must be created. So, an autonomous council is created by paragraph 2, subparagraph 1, to administer the mini nation in observance of democratic norm, because the king has been replaced by power of the people. To constitute the autonomous council, members who work in the autonomous council must be chosen. We must not forget that the council is an autonomous council, a self-working council. So, a law for electing members of the autonomous council must also be made by the self-working council, not by any other power outside sixth schedule. The Assam Autonomous District Constitution of District Councils Rules 1951, made by the state government, were only for forming the first council. The law for election of members of the Autonomous Council must be made first of all. This is the first act of the Autonomous Council to prove that the council is autonomous. And the autonomy is provided only for the Hills tribes people previously, because it is they who needed to protect themselves by their own political power. It is not constitutionally appropriate to talk about making any other law before making the law for conduct of elections of the autonomous councils and for preparation of voter list for election of the autonomous councils. If the autonomous councils are not constituted by law made by the scheduled tribes themselves, then the so-called autonomous councils are not constitutionally autonomous councils. And all the other laws that may be made by the so-called autonomous councils cannot protect the scheduled tribes, because if the lawmakers are not scheduled tribes people, there is a strong possibility that laws would be made under pressure of non-scheduled tribes people. In such so-called autonomous councils, the political power of non-scheduled tribes creeps in surreptitiously in every sphere. It has actually happened in Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council. In the first interim council, in the first interim autonomous district council, a non-tribal man from Borpeta was made deputy chairman, and 4 non-scheduled tribes persons were made members of the Mikir Hills Autonomous District Council in 1952. As a result, instead of making land revenue law by retaining the traditional land and revenue laws of Karbis and other hill tribes, the then Mikir Hills Autonomous District Council accepted the Assam Land and Revenue Regulation 1886, which was imposed by the government of Assam. This resulted in the automatic cancellation of all the land patas of the hill tribes people who had already received patas from traditional chiefs under traditional administrative system of the tribes. Even today, thousands of hill tribes people are declared to be encroachers of land for which they had received pata orally from their chief hundreds of years before. The name of my father, who was the village headman of our Tika village, the authority to give land patas. He is the authority to give land patas in that place. Also is found written in the Chita, that is field index, as an encroacher. Even my father is declared encroacher. Thousands of tribe people inhabiting all over these tribal areas, including on both sides of the National Highway 4 lane between Doboka to Dimapur, were tribes patadars of lands for which the tribes people had already received land patas from the village headmen and Servan Kep and other traditional village councils of their tribes. Due to adoption of the Assam Land and Revenue Regulation 1886, their rightful patas received during the government of their king were automatically cancelled. In fact, ALRR 1886 was imposed by the Assam government, and majority of the tribes people who had traditional patas were made landless as a result of 6th schedule because of non-implementation of 6th schedule. Cancellation of traditional patas and making tribes people landless could happen because land and revenue law was not made by the Mikir Hills Autonomous District Council as empowered by paragraph 3 of the 6th schedule to the Constitution of India in the way the makers of the 6th schedule wanted. In 1959, instead of making laws to protect land for tribes people, to enable non-tribal people to acquire lands of tribes people, a land and revenue law called the Mikiri Hills District Transfer of Land Act 1959 was made by the Mikiri Hills Autonomous District Council. In 1969, more power was demanded by elected Congress MLAs and MDCs, including 2 ministers, and rejected autonomous hill state, but instead received less power. Demanded more power, received less power by empowering Assam government to prevent the autonomous district councils from making laws for conducting council elections and preparing council voters list by inserting with the approval of the governor in para 27 of the 6th schedule, even for introducing the bill in the autonomous district councils. Even for introducing also, the approval of the government is needed, but they thought that they got more power. In 1995, para 3 was diluted by inserting alienation of land in a new para 3A, clause O. This insertion lowered down the 6th schedule, a mini constitution, to simply a Land and Revenue Act. See how it happened. In 6th schedule is a mini constitution, but by inserting land settlement matter in it, it was brought down to the level of an act, a Land Revenue Act. That it happened because from the beginning in the Constituent Assembly itself, opposition to 6th schedule was very strong. So they took any opportunity to make it weaker all the time, even today. 6th schedule, the mini constitution, now legal terms like transfer of land, settlement of land, etc. are to be put in the Land and Revenue Act, which is actually yet to be made under paragraph 3. Anti-6th schedule tribes elements where
So we have 2 minutes to wind up.
Picture. Then it is very long. I don't know. Light also something has happened.
Some
Will you
conspiracy.
give me concession because of the light? Acha. Now I will then just speak like that, I think. Uh, words other laws to be made under the sixth schedule cannot be made for the benefit of the scheduled tribes. This has been proved in Karbi Anglong, West Karbi Anglong, and Dimasas. See, they have not made the law. We have filed a case in High Court. We won High Court also. And the council are afraid to make the law because non-tribal people are now almost majority. Our population was 96% tribal people in 1951. Now in 2011, our tribal population is 56%. And now in 2021 census, it is reported we are only 47%. According to a law of natural justice, it is no more a tribal area. See, this has happened.
And now we are afraid. Our elected people are afraid of non-tribal people. So they are afraid to make any laws. They are afraid even to appoint tribal people. The chokidar, peons are selected in Dispur. They pass a law, direct recruitment law. Nobody oppose it. MLAs are afraid to oppose it. We wrote to the MLAs. Some of them even afraid to receive our letter. They return it. Only one MLA, he received it and replied to us. But it could not be done. This direct recruitment is there. Now, the other part of the sixth schedule is making of law for recognizing traditional village councils of the tribes people by whatever name called. The Constitution of India by Article 243D has given freedom to the tribes, to the scheduled tribes to retain and utilize their traditional village councils by whatever name called. This means that the autonomous council constituted by the sixth schedule must make laws to retain and utilize for all government purposes the traditional village councils of all the scheduled tribes of different names. The Karbis have the Servan Kep, Ringmaga Nagas have Injang Tiruk Winyu Songsat Wen, Dimasa have Raji Naisokho, Kuki Mar tribes have Tulsung Vaisa, Siam tribe has Mukpom Chauhuban, Garo tribes has Songko Dilgapa, Hasi Jaintia has Darbar Snong, Tiwa tribe has Shening Pisai, and Bodo tribe has Gamiari Afad. Some leaders of some tribes may say that their traditional village councils are not constituted not by election. So their traditional village councils are not equivalent to panchayats of the non-tribal people. We must not forget that elections in democracy is a new system. Even panchayats were not constituted by elections in earlier days. Panchayats have been modified and improved. It is no more a 5-member village council, panchayat, 5-member council, but now 20 members. But still we call it panchayat. Panchayat has become a nomenclature, not the numbers of the members. Likewise, if the panchayat more than 2000 years old, they modified it and improved it and used for development purposes and everything of the government, why not our traditional village council, Servan Cap? It can be used. We call it Servan Cap, but actually there are 12 members. We also. Because some time ago, so I don't know, about 50 or 100 years ago, this was amended. That is why, although it is called Servan Cap, the members are 12. Now we can increase it to 16.
Sir, we are sorry, we have to
just
wind up
ending.
so that they have some questions.
Yeah, just ending, just
But
ending.
please make sure the
Therefore, as
articles are
mandated,
given.
therefore, as mandated by paragraph 2, subparagraph 7 of the sixth schedule, and as per judgment passed by the Honorable High Court on 13/7/2018 in PIL case number 9/2017, all the 10 autonomous district or territorial council must first of all make law for conduct of elections of the autonomous or territorial councils. Conduct of elections includes preparation of electoral rolls. Let us also wake up to make laws under paragraph 3, 1, E, F, G of the sixth schedule to the Constitution of India to keep traditional council by whatever name called alive. Will let us keep our traditional village council alive and working to retain identity of our tribes and for progress. Thank you. Now, should I say little, there are, I think when they inside, there are some points to be said.
Whenever I say it is very long, however, I think there is no more time.
Sir, I think we'll have some discussion and we could add more. I can't tell you how interesting your points were, and it's really hard, but since we are running late, we'll have them during the discussion.
All right.
Yeah? Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. So enlightening and things that would not be easy for people like me to understand otherwise. So really, really grateful you highlighted some fundamental issues about the true autonomy of being autonomous itself. We'll have discussions, and I would appeal to the organizers, and I'm sure they would, to please give the papers if is that being done so that we can read at our ease. Yeah? So I will now call upon Mr. Holiram Terang, who can bring his experience in government and state politics to highlight the aspirations of the Karbis, Dimasas, and other hill tribes of Assam in the constitutional amendment, yeah, bill that will be that was presented and will be. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chair. See, the beginning itself, I think I should say that I don't think that I fit into this kind of, what do you call, a discussion or whatever, because I'm not, I don't have the habit of writing down and presenting papers. I do not present papers. Maybe extempore I can speak something, or if you give me a kind of a rally of thousands of people, then maybe I can give a political speech, but not an academic one. Okay, so be prepared for it. But I won't give a long speech here. It will be extempore, kind of an extempore. And the second thing is that in one way, I think I have been, pushed into participating into this. I've been pushed. Really, I have been pushed because this thing came out in the social media and other things that call for papers and all that. Were there, and I said, "Oh, it's a good thing. And maybe I can learn something from that." Then, just about a week back, maybe, or 6 days back, I was week back maybe. I was called by the main organizer that, "Sir, please come and you should participate." I said, "I don't think I can do that." "No, no, sir, no, you can come. You have to come." Then I said, "Okay, since he's a very good person and a good close friend also." Then I said, "Okay." Then one afternoon, I think I was taking rest. Then he called me. Then said that, "What should we call you, sir? Former president of ASDC and former minister?" "Yes, you can." Then after 2 hours, the poster came out. Well, my picture was there and my designations were there. Then after that, I can't refuse. I can't say that I won't go to that. Because if I do that, they will not only damage my reputation or my whatever, and also damage the reputation of the organizers. And not only that, then later I was, said that, so, Mr. Wangchuk will be coming. So he will be the best person to accompany him. I said, "I don't think so. I should not. I should not be the damn person." No, no, no. You have to be with him, and you have to go with him. So when he came here first to the food, and I had to be with him. Then not only that, we had dinner together. Then next day also, early in the morning, we had to get up at 4:30 and go to Haflong and come back and reach here by 7:30 or 8. Then this again today. So I was talking to my friend, Professor Moses, that I'll take a little rest and maybe try to study something and bring out. I said, "No, I don't think you need be needing study and all that. You can do that. But what about this, the preliminary this thing?" Now, the first thing is that I am not interested in this kind of this thing because I do not recognize 125th bill. I do not want to recognize it. I want this to be discarded. I want the 125th Constitution Amendment Bill to be discarded. I can't say about other areas, but at least for Karbis and Dimasas, this has to be discarded, outright thrown out. Please don't read this to Karbis and Dimasas. Because we have been all along demanding for the creation of an autonomous state under Article 244A. And if you look at the report given by the Standing Committee of the Rajya Sabha, Department Related Standing Committee on Home Affairs. So when they gave this report in 2019, nowhere did they mention about autonomous state, the demand for autonomous state. But this is some other reason, this thing, that reason, both thing. Anyway, the first thing, if you look at the names of the people who are constituted as members of the Standing Committee. This is Department-related Parliamentary Standing Committee on Home Affairs. Right. It was reconstituted in September 2019. From Rajya Sabha, you have 10 members. From Lok Sabha, you have 31 members. And these are the people who are supposed to, give a report on the workings of the Sikh schedule in the tribal areas. And do you find any tribal here? I think Mr. Namgyal is a tribal. Jamyang Sering Namgyal, is he tribal? Yes, he's the lone tribal out of 31. So non-tribals will suggest to us how you should run your own place. At least some of the tribals could have been brought in. You know, during the Constituent Assembly, we had Nicholas Roy, then Jaipal Singh, I think. Jaspal Singh? Jaipal Singh, it is Jaipal Singh, right? Then some other people were there. And those were the people, most vocal people who defended the cause of the tribals in the Constituent Assembly. That's why you could get this section, otherwise you would not have got. There were people, especially from Assam, who totally opposed the whole thing. But just because Nicole Soy was there, Jaipal Singh was there, then we could get this section. Now come these people, in an independent India, out of 31, only one tribal was there to advise us how to run the thing. So what I say is that this 125th Amendment is a sweeping legislation, trying to have a sweeping legislation. So we cannot accept it. That's the first thing. And the second thing is, you see, when you go through the report, it says about seeks to amend Article 280. Okay, to supplement resources of the sectional areas. So it is the thing that wanted to do. And under Article 2442 and all that, the reasons they cited in the report. Ministry of Home Affairs further informed the committee that some recent developments require that the existing provisions pertaining to the section needs to be amended to suit contemporary requirements to strengthen the councils under the section. The reasons and basis that proposed the amendments are as under. So why this 125th amendment? Because Home Ministry said that some recent developments have occurred which need the amendment of the existing provisions. What recent development? They didn't say anything. What now the reasons? The Committee on Political Affairs, the Cabinet Committee, New Delhi. They signed agreements with the UPDS, the DSD, and all that in October in 2011 and 2012, aimed at enhancing autonomy of the existing councils. And they want a special package and all that. But nowhere did they mention about the people of Karbi Anglong and North Kathar Hills demanding a separate state from the year 1969. This is 2011 and 2012. The committee, referred to this, but didn't refer to the 1969, 70, 71. And from 1986, we started the movement for autonomous state, restarted the movement for autonomous state, and I used to be the president of the Autonomous State Demand Committee, but nowhere is it referred. They refer about DSD, they refer to UPDS, but nowhere is mentioned about ASDC. Is it not deliberate? So the very intention of bringing this amendment is, to not to increase power, but to decrease power. That's why this is outright rejected. I can't say about the Boro areas and the Chakma and other areas. I can't say about that. But at least for Karbi Anglong and North Kachar, no, please, no, don't bring this one. Then, and some other regions, they said, 74, 73 and 74 amendments constitution do not apply to this any. So, just because something was there in 73rd and 74th amendments to the constitution, they want to bring the same thing to our place. And what were they? I think it refers to the Panchayati Raj Statistic, 73rd and 74th amendment. So now, these people, Delhi people, are trying to equalize Panchayat with district council. It's very, very dangerous. It's very, very dangerous. We don't know about Panchayats and all that. We don't bother also. Let them get more powers. God bless them. Though I don't believe in God. But we don't want Panchayati powers here. We have our own thing. We have our own institutions and all that. And they were saying about, not getting adequate fund and all that. So, bring in 125, equalize it with Panchayat, then give them more funds. Okay, instead of going through all these things, just implement Article 244A, we'll be getting almost everything. Some more amendments will be needed to the 244A also, yes. And we are not saying that after giving us 244A, there should not be any autonomous consensus. No, there has to be also. Because there are so many other things to consider. And in the report, I told you about the reasons. They have cited the reasons. Then now they cite these objectives of the bill. The Constitution 125 Amendment Bill 2009 inter alia seeks to achieve the following objectives. One is to amend Article 280, enabling the Finance Commission, about this Finance Commission, State Finance Commission. State Finance Commission will give more money to the councils and all that, to rename the councils. You don't need to have a kind of this constitutional amendment to rename a council. Very funny, number one. The next is to increase the number of seats. Then for reservation of women, we don't need 125 for reservation of women. We don't need that. And to transfer additional subject and all that. I think, I don't know, if you can go through the schedule pertaining to the Karbi Anglong and Dimasas. After we signed an accord, we'll call it Memorandum of Understanding, where I am one of the signatories. On 17th, it's in 1995, right? 1st April Fool's Day. That's why I think it's not implemented. Anyway, 1st April, 1st April 1995, and where, I think it is the first time in the history of India, I can say, maybe, that after a peaceful mass movement, the Constitution of India had to be amended. The first time. The Constitution of India had to be amended after a mass long movement. We started the movement in 1986, and the accord was signed in 1995, 9 years. And there itself, you go through the schedule pertaining to Karbi Anglong, that you'll find, so many subjects are given to the council for legislation. Legislative power were given. 16 subjects, which actually equals to about 25 departments. But because just when you say water, we have what departments? We have irrigation, you have flood control, then you have a PHE, not PUD. Under water, under one subject, there are 3 departments. So we are getting 16 subjects to legislate, which equals to about 25 departments, executive departments. So we got the 16 subjects amended when power was given to the council to legislate. Then we got 30 departments, executive departments. So why it is saying that more power, more departments will be given and all that, this report? So
We'll have 3 more minutes.
yeah. This is difficult for me because I'm not used to presenting papers. Anyway, I'll shorten it to. So this is some of the things. Now, what I would like to say is that, why do we need autonomy? We need autonomy to protect our land, to protect our livelihood, to have control over our resources, for our indigeneity, for culture, way of life, and ecology. And we want to develop ourselves in our own wisdom. We may not need the wisdom of Gujarat. We may not need the wisdom of, the Jharkhand, or maybe we don't need the wisdom of Maratha and all that. We have our own wisdom. So please allow us to develop ourselves on our own wisdom. But since we are in a country, there is a constitution, yes, we'll respect that. Since there is law of the land, we'll respect that. But within those perimeters, please allow us to develop ourselves. That's it. Don't bring this 125 or 130, whatever name that you give. We don't need those kind of amendments. So those are the main things. So I think I'm more into policies and the philosophy and all that, and less in academics. One thing I think I see so many. I think this morning also there were lots of discussions and some papers were presented. Tomorrow also maybe some more will be there. But whatever thing that we have right now, or whatever that power that we might be getting in the future also, the only thing is that we have to be very, very vigilant. If we are not vigilant, they will be taken away. And one thing after interaction with Mr. Wangchuk for the last 2 days is that you should be, I think this morning also he said that you don't know the value of air unless till when you become breathless. Fish do not know the value of water until they are taken out, right? So we should know the value of the existing provisions, number one, and also we should not take this for granted. When we don't take things for granted, then we understand the value. But there is a lack of so many things on that. There's those things for that we have to fight, we have to struggle for that. I think that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Holiram Terang. Thank you so much for your enlightening speech, and you woke us up in more senses than one after a long seminar, and from our complacence that might be there also. So without taking more time, since we are running little more than 1 hour late, I welcome you, invite you to questions and answers from the panelists.
Let me take the first privilege. I would like to ask a brief question which may concern political history. and that can be attempted both either by zones in Ingti, Kathar, or Holiram Terang. As we know, there was a strong movement for hill state in the 50s by Eastern India Tribal Union. Then after that, it was revived with new name, All Party Hill Leaders Conference in the 60s. Then at that time, the erstwhile Mikir Hills and North Kasar Hills could be part of autonomous state of Meghalaya. But as we know, certain writing, so Mikir Hills and North Kasar Hills, they withdrew from the hill state movement, so they were not part of it. So what could be the main reason for their withdrawal from that APHRC?
APHLC from Karbis NCS, we did not withdraw. Only the Congress people withdrew. And the Congress people were elected people. So they withdrew it. They did not accept it. And they asked for more power. And in their asking for more power, as I have already said, they included with the approval of the governor. That means they have got less power. They did not realize it in 1969. And we did not withdraw. I am still the president of APHLC even now. And my father was a candidate of MLA from APHLC in 1962.
There was no opposition or reaction from the public at that time.
We became helpless because the elected people were very strong. They were aided, helped by those majority people. That is how it happened. And then they said that hill state will be only for Christians. Then they played the religious thing. That is, we must talk about this, otherwise we will not know. They said that hill state means for Christians. And if you get hill state, you will not be allowed to drink wine. You will not be allowed to sacrifice and all this kind of thing. And you will have to talk only in English, that kind of thing. Of course, the leaders, their children read in English at that time in St. Edmunds. That's how it happened. We did not withdraw. We were still there, but the elected people held by Assam government, they rejected it. Excuse me.
Just a common interjection for both the resource persons available offline. Although it sounds very interesting when we talk of, asking for a separate state or autonomous state, and when we look at the sixth schedule, paragraph 12 of the sixth schedule provides that no act of the legislature of the state, in respect of matters specified in paragraph, of the sixth schedule shall apply to the Domestic Council. That is the provisions that was primarily placed under the paragraph 12. But, except in these matters, appointment of chiefs and headmen, social customs, and inheritance. However, we must also go beyond that. In the seventh schedule, it is specifically mentioned that the legislators can make laws on as many as 70 items then, and 52 items under the concurrent list. So now there is a conflict that arises, especially with a paragraph A, B, and so on and so forth in other councils. But my point is, when there is a conflict between the state and the autonomous council, there are two principles that we must understand. That is the fundamental human rights under the constitution that allows for the state to make laws, and the second, Chief Justice Hidayatullah, who said that this is the sixth schedule is the constitution under constitution. However, you see, when the sixth schedule was empowered with making laws on many items, it was when compared to the seventh schedule, it was basically mentioned in the philosophy that the sixth schedule will specifically make laws on the reserved collective cultural rights, which means rights that are specifically related to the tribes, which I mentioned all the three of them. So therefore, when we are expecting that autonomous states can be, we can aspire for autonomous states. How do you actually try to balance between as I said, the fundamental human rights with that of the reserved collective cultural rights? That is my question. Which means, are you more interested in development, or are you more interested in preservation of whatever has been given under the sixth schedule?
Literally, what I have said again is that we need to protect our land, our people, our culture, and the ecology. So, demanding autonomous state doesn't mean that we'll relinquish all this, we'll give up all these hopes and all that. No. Demanding autonomous state means we want to be free of interference from the center and the state, unless there are specific things which are really needed to be governed by the center and the state. So that's why yes, we want the 244A should ensure financial independence to some extent, and also cultural is of course very much there. And when we demand for autonomous state, then it means at the same time we also want control over resources. Means what? Especially mining. Especially mining. In mining, in our place, this sand is there, coal is there, quartzite is there, platinum is there, uranium is there, and there is even talk of having lithium, one of the most precious things here. So we want control over those things. So there's no question of giving up the other things. Is it okay? Yes, sir.
Well, thank you very much. Very interesting conversations. Dr. Elwin Teron brought about very interesting issues about what is wrong. My question is, it's slightly question related to disconnect. We in the Northeast are not in the decision-making process in the government of India. It's very clear. That's why we don't get what we want. Gujarat gets its share, Tamil Nadu gets its share because they have their representations in bureaucracy, in civil society, in business, in lobbying institutions, and of course in parliament and the cabinet. Under these circumstances, the new dimension has been added in the last 20-25 years is a new generation of political leaders, a new generation of bureaucrats have come into being who cannot relate, who cannot connect with history. People who were in 50s, 60s, 70s, who were there, they would know what is Northeast, what has happened to sixth schedule, how Constituent Assembly was debated. But today in bureaucracy and today in political spectrum, I distinctly see that they cannot. It's a serious disconnection, right? That means whatever decisions they will take will not really benefit us, give any dividends to us?
Well, I think the question is for me.
No, if you could kindly address, I'm asking a very general question, which I have seen, right? Because I've lived in Delhi
Yes.
last many
That's the
years.
reason why you should let me remind all our friends.
Let me complete my question.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying today is what Holiram very rightly raised, that this is the draft which we'll have to discard. Even I find there's nothing substantive, right? And this draft has essentially gone out of some of the political leaders or out of some of the constituencies here only. I get the impression that it was discussed here, sent to the government of India, they did this. So this is, before the draft comes to the parliament, can we provide an alternative draft as people's draft, right? As people's amendment draft. Can we do this? We did that in case of Darjeeling. I was personally involved in the sixth schedule, which Mr. Gissing wanted to brought minimum things. So we said, no, that is not the draft we want. This is the people's draft. So we said all the Hill Council members should be MLAs. The chief executive should be in the rank of at least deputy chief minister or chief minister. So the moment we said that, the people who were making decisions, they withdrew from the process, right? We have seen that. So can you provide an alternative draft? This is my first question. Or collectively, to say that this draft will not really meet the aspirations of the people in the coming 30, 40, 50 years. My second question is, nobody really talks about graduating model. Sixth schedule, as you rightly mentioned, as all the panelists rightly mentioned, have these problems, have that problems, 75 years, 30 years, 80, say 60 years. But what is the what is the next model, right? Is it 244A, as you rightly said? Or is it 244AA or 244AC, whatever it is? Where is the graduating model? And the graduating model has to be emanated from among the councils. It has to, because if you look into what happened to the 244A model, it actually emanated from among the political parties led by Williamson Sangma here, because I was reading that, they started pushing this draft or that draft, government saying that, they started saying, no, we don't agree this, they gave this alternative. So the entire process of an alternative model or graduating model has to be. Is there any thinking on this kind of initiative? Thank you very much.
Elwin ji, would you like to respond?
Yes, one thing is this, let us remember that while drafting the constitution also in the Constituent Assembly, as you remember, that during the drafting of sixth schedule also, only Reverend JJM Nicholson was representing our interest. And that is why even Dr. Ambedkar had to succumb to the demand of the Plains people that whenever any legislation is made by the council, it will be done after the approval of the Council of Ministers. And this was settled during the Constituent Assembly debate. That is because we did not have enough representative in the parliament to represent our case. And that is why today, asymmetric federalism is a reality in India. It has to be a reality in India because you have to address ethnic problems separately and provide separate solutions. For a country like India, where there are numerous communities, numerous interests, numerous nationalities. So I think sixth schedule, within sixth schedule itself also, as I mentioned today in the morning, that there is an asymmetric application of the provisions of the sixth schedule. Now, coming to the 125th constitutional amendment. It is being accused that some small politicians, they have done something like that, but no. It was 125th, most of the 125th constitutional amendment, which is being done now, was also based on the recommendation of the second working of the Constitution Commission, and the part which examined the working of the sixth schedule was the chairman was the late P.A. Sangma. So a lot of the examination had taken place at the national level by a commission. And it was the report of that commission which suggested that in order to strengthen the finance position of the council, Article 280 must be amended to accommodate the council to have access to the finance commission. It was also, that decision was also after a prolonged deliberations at the national level and of course with stakeholders. We have had a lot of discussion with the stakeholders itself, and of course there may be certain shortfalls in the 125th constitutional amendment, but it is an attempt to increase more autonomy to those who require autonomy. Except that we have been also vociferously saying that the relation between between a governor and the district council will have to be reviewed. We tried our best in the 1995 amendment, where to restore the position of the governor, so that the governor may be able to take decision on his own without the advice of the Council of Ministers. Practically, it doesn't happen. And therefore, we will need, that's why I say that the entire legislative process of the council must be left alone, and the Council of Ministers must not intervene in that. They must be extricated from that responsibility. And so, in the way forward, which I also said, is that all those will be necessary to make council sustainable. Of course, we were demanding Article 244A, and Article 244A could not be settled. And because of that, all the time, be it 1995 amendment, be it the Accord of 2011, be it the Accord of 2021, all the three accords that Karbis Anglong have had in the past 2 decades, it is always government proposed. It's not our proposal. Even Article 244A, if you go to history, was the proposal of the union government, not by the application. If we look into it, some of them rejected it. People like Hopius Longdo and all, they rejected it. But Williamson Sangma and all, they accepted it as an experiment. So it was not their creation, it was offered to them. But even that also, it is something better than our present position. At least in the case of legislation, in the case of financing, we would be better off under Article 244A. And that's what we believed.
Any other responses or queries? Okay.
What I was thinking that for more fun, we need 280 to have connection with Finance Commission. But in 275 is the article through which fund is sent to Autonomous Council, 6th Schedule Autonomous Council. And in that article also, connection with Finance Commission is already written. So the reason for going to 280 does not arise actually. And if we go to a 280 at all, my suggestion, we have submitted to the government, is that to Anand Sharma committee also, that in 280 clause 3, there is written union government and the state and something there. So there, after union government, comma, state and union
and what is that, autonomous council or autonomous territorial territory. If this is added, then I think it will be all right. But now it is added in CC. CC is along with Gram Panchayat, municipalities, such and such small thing. That means the intention seems to be to bring down the status of the autonomous council to the level of Panchayat. It is not, the intention is something. And then they said that in Karbi Anglong, it is they are all singing that we will get direct funding. There is nothing is written direct funding there. And moreover, when we were in Jakarta, we have discussed with union government also. They said that direct funding cannot be given. It is a big thing, a big matter. It covers, it relates to the whole of India. So if it is done for Karbi Anglong or Assam, it has to be done for other states also. That is what they have said. And I think this is correct. We can also understand about this thing. Direct funding, why should? And then if it is 80, we will get direct funding. See, Assam Plain District, it is already 280. They have not got direct funding. They have not got anything. I was also Panchayat secretary there. In the Plain District, nothing is there. Yes. And moreover, what is it? Regarding human rights, I think someone you requested human rights. It is written in the book that giving of autonomy under 6th schedule is a part of protecting human rights. It is written there. So by getting autonomous state or autonomous council, we are not against human rights.
Thank you. Any last questions before we close the session, as it's 7 p.m.? Well, wonderful. Thank you for this high level of participation and engagement at 7 p.m. You're all wide awake and excitedly participating, and thank you, all the three of you, for keeping the discussion so engaging. I will present more than a certificate, a token of acknowledgement of your wisdom here at this conference, Mr. Kathar. Yes. Kathar. Mr. Teron. And digitally to Elwin Teron.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you very much, and over to you there.
Thank you so much. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to all the speakers, Mr. Elwin Teron, Mr. John Ingti Kathar, and Mr. Holiram Terang for the thought-provoking and insightful presentations in technical session 3 around Table Colloquium. It was an honor to hear from each one of you and such important topics surrounding the 6th schedule. Finally, our deep appreciation goes to Mr. Sonam Wangchuk for chairing this session. Thank you all once again to all the speakers and participants for making this colloquium a truly enlightening experience and making the first day of the national seminar a huge success. Thank you all. Before we wind up for today, as we conclude